They say success demands sacrifice. That if you're not working late nights, if you're not grinding every hour of your life, you don't want it bad enough. But what if that's a lie? What if all this obsession with working harder than everyone else, without pause, without rest, isn't the path to greatness, but the road to burning out? Jack Ma once supported the 9-6-6 lifestyle, work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. He called it a blessing, said those willing to do it were lucky. But something changed, because the same man who preached hustle and long hours eventually realized, what's the point of building an empire if you lose yourself in the process? Jack Ma didn't start rich. He wasn't a genius. He failed his college entrance exam twice. He applied to 30 jobs and every single one rejected him, including KFC. He was one of 5 applicants. 4 got in. He was the only one left out. But he didn't quit. He didn't get bitter. He worked. He tried again and again and again. He built Alibaba with a vision, not for money, but for purpose. And yes, he worked long hours, not because he loved pain, but because he had fire, a reason, a dream. But later, after building billions, he looked around and saw people exhausted, unhappy, chained to a life of nonstop hustle. And he said something different. He said, I don't want people in my company to work like machines. Life is not just about work. And that's what this is really about. It's not about laziness. It's about sanity. Working hard is noble, but dying for a paycheck? That's not ambition. That's self-destruction. Jack Ma realized that real success isn't just financial. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's waking up with energy, sleeping with peace, and knowing your life is full, not just your bank account. There's a moment in every life when you have to ask, what am I really chasing? And is it worth what I'm losing? This isn't permission to slack. This is a warning to pause, to think, to ask yourself, am I working to live? Or have I started living to work? The people who build legacies, real legacies, are not the ones who never rest. They're the ones who know when to push and when to breathe. Jack Ma said, if you spend all your time working, sooner or later you'll regret it. You will lose your health, your family, your happiness. And that regret, it doesn't go away. You can recover lost money. You can't recover lost years. You see, Jack Ma's story isn't just about business. It's about transformation. He didn't change the world just because he worked hard, but because he worked with meaning. In the early days of Alibaba, he said, we were poor. We had nothing, no money, no technology, but we had belief. That belief made people stay late, work weekends, stretch beyond their limits. But the question he learned later is, how long can a human being stretch before they break? There comes a point when endless grinding stops being a strength and becomes a trap. And Jack Ma started to see it, not just in others, but in himself. He saw the burnout, the emptiness, the missed birthdays, the lost time. And he realized being successful doesn't mean being busy. It means being in control. You don't need to burn yourself out to prove your worth. You don't need to say yes to everything just to be seen as valuable. Hard work is necessary, but if it comes at the cost of your soul, it's too expensive. Jack Ma later told young people, don't just work hard, work smart. And more importantly, live smart. Because here's the secret no one tells you. If your mind is always on fire, you'll never notice you're burning down. If your calendar is always full, you'll never realize your life is empty. He encouraged entrepreneurs to build a life, not just a company, to love their team, not just their targets, to live with energy, not exhaustion. And that takes courage. It takes courage to rest when others are grinding. It takes strength to say enough when everyone else says more. It takes vision to walk away from what's draining you, even if it's labeled as success. But Jack Ma knew something else. The world doesn't need more exhausted people. It needs clear-minded ones, balanced ones, people who can lead without losing themselves. He said, "You should learn how to enjoy life. If you only focus on work, one day you will regret." That regret comes quietly. It doesn't shout. It comes in silence. Missed moments, empty rooms, smiles you didn't see, people you never really knew. And that's the true cost of obsession. Yes, build your dream, work for it, fight for it, but not at the cost of your health, your family, your life. You can be relentless without being reckless. You can be ambitious without being absent from your own story. Jack Ma reminds us that success is not a race, it's a rhythm. There's a time to rise and a time to rest, a time to push and a time to breathe. Because in the end, no one remembers how many hours you worked. They remember how you made them feel, how present you were, how alive you seemed. The richest people are not always the ones with the biggest bank accounts. Sometimes they're the ones who can smile without stress, sleep without pills, laugh without checking their phones. And maybe that's the new definition of success, not just wealth, but wholeness. So yes, work hard. Chase your vision, but don't die proving a point. Don't collapse chasing someone else's definition of success. If Jack Ma, a man who built an empire from nothing, can stop and say, "Live," then maybe, just maybe, we should listen. Because the truth is simple. Life is not just about work. Work is part of life. But life is everything. If you like this, you will love the next. Please subscribe not to miss it.